dollar. Dirt and money, no soul. Had to go and get it, ain't no time to kick it. Got a stack and flip for my foes. Dollar. Please tell me you can hear me. Don't turn your back and don't neglect me. Just let me know if you need me. Dollar. Let me watch out for my partners. Keep my money long, get my team strong. Let me run away from my problems.
Yo, what's good, original crew, man? We're back. We got another Ballen for you today. We got a missing 411. I feel like we haven't did a missing 411 in a while, right, Cee?
Yeah.
Been a good long minute since we did a missing 411. But today, man, we got 3 people found in impossible places missing 411. This is part 11. If you don't know, now you know. But hey, with that being said, before we get into it, make sure y'all check out the links in the description box.
Down below.
That means for y'all who don't know, we do have additional channels. We always say, hey, go check out the links. Check it out. All you got to do is scroll down a little bit. But voila, magic. They're there for you. But also, if you enjoyed today's visuals,
Locking it with a thumbs up.
we're highly appreciated. But let's dive into it, y'all. Let's check it out. Let's see what it's about. Please.
What?
Why?
What's up?
See? Don't start it today.
Oh, God. I need my books right here.
No, you don't.
Yes,
But let's go, man. Let's check it out. Let's see what it's about. Ready?
I'm ready.
Let's get it.
People are going missing all over North America under baffling circumstances. In some cases, people will be looking right at someone. They'll turn around and turn back and they're gone.
Yeah.
Or you'll have instances where people will go missing and then turn up again in places that are basically impossible to get to. One man named David Politis, who's a former police detective, when he learned about some of these strange cases and saw that no one was looking into it, he began to do the research and he spent tens of thousands of hours researching thousands of these cases. And they're so bizarre. As I read through them, I'm taking note of the really strange cases and highlighting those on my YouTube channel. But before we get into today's Missing 411 stories, if you're a fan of the strange, dark, and mysterious delivered in story format, then you've come to the right place, because that's all I do, and I upload 3, 4, even 5 times every week. If that's of interest to you, then please offer the like button a Coke, but secretly swap it out with Pepsi. Also subscribe to this channel and turn on all
Some people might like that.
I'm about to say, that'd be fine. I love Pepsi.
notifications so you don't miss any of my weekly uploads. All right, let's get into today's stories. In 1969, Robert Winters was a 78-year-old retired logger living in Oregon. He was a family man, he loved the outdoors, and he really loved going hunting with his 3 sons. In early October 1969, Robert and his 3 sons headed off for their annual hunting trip that they would do at Sparks Lake. Now, Sparks Lake is an area that they had been hunting for 20 years. They know this area inside and out. They arrive at Sparks Lake and they set up their camp right at the base of this mountain that was a part of the area that they would be hunting in. And for the first couple of days, everything was going great. On October 8th, they found out that there was this big snowstorm coming in later that night. They still wanted to go hunting that day, so they decided that instead of going up into that mountain and hunting up there, they would stay at lower elevation around where their camp was. So the 4 of them split up and they took up different positions all around this lake, but they're all in the same general vicinity. And they all hunt for the day, and then they all come back to the campsite that night. Except Robert didn't come back, and as it got darker and the snow started to fall, his sons got really worried and they went out looking for him, but quickly saw that we got to get other people involved in this because this snowstorm's coming in and we don't know where he is. So they call the sheriff's office. The sheriff's department launches this massive search right away, but unfortunately, over the first 24 hours, not only did they not find Robert or any sign of where he was, but over 18 inches of snow dumped all over the area. Because of the snowfall, it made searching the area on foot really difficult, so they called in a couple helicopters to scour the area from the air. And it was at this time that one of the helicopters picked up tracks at 7,100 feet right near the lake. And the tracks were actually discounted, and people said that can't be Robert's, because that would mean he would have had to go up almost 2,000 feet in elevation when he and his sons had all agreed we're not going to go higher because of the snow. And Robert was an accomplished outdoorsman that would know in an emergency survival situation, especially in a cold environment, you don't go uphill. Temperatures drop as you go uphill. Risk of hypothermia increases, plus you're burning more energy trying to get up a mountain. So they said that cannot be Robert's tracks. 5 days after Robert went missing, no sign of him has been found, and the search was terminated. 9 months later, a doctor was on vacation in the same area near Sparks Lake, and he discovered next to a tree up around that area where those tracks had been found by the helicopter at 7,100 feet, he found lying against a tree a rifle, some clothes, a boot, a glove, and a pair of glasses. The doctor informed the sheriff's department, who came out and confirmed that these all belonged to Robert Winters, but oddly enough, there was no blood anywhere on the clothes. And there were...
It's 9 months later, bro. We don't know what could... When he said that... Y'all still should have checked.
He said there was no blood on his clothes.
Yeah.
It'll still show blood regardless.
No. I'm just saying, like, a lot of things, a lot of clues and stuff that we could have got probably was fresh on that.
Yeah, most
day.
definitely. So they didn't even go up and check because they were just so adamant that he wouldn't have went that far because of what they agreed to. Okay, I just wanted to make sure I understood that correctly.
So
I'm still checking.
There were no bone fragments or any remains anywhere in the area because they brought searchers out and combed that whole area. So there was no indication that Robert had actually even died. Even stranger was, it looked like the clothes had been removed on purpose. Everything was stacked neatly next to this tree. The only other new piece of evidence that we would ever find about him is a year later, his dentures were found in that area. So again, there's no remains of Robert, just his various belongings that were found in that area. The family wanted to move forward with funeral arrangements, but they needed the coroner to sign a death certificate. The coroner refused for over a year, saying there's no sign he actually died.
Right.
But eventually the coroner said it's also impossible for him to be alive at this point. So they were able to get a death certificate even though there was nothing ever found of him. It seems very unlikely that Robert, who was a skilled outdoorsman, who had hunted this particular area for 20 years and had agreed with his sons that it was a bad idea to go up in elevation because of the storm, defied all of that and went almost 2,000 feet up in elevation, removed his clothes neatly and put them on the ground next to a tree, and then vanished without a trace. But then how do we reconcile those tracks that were seen from the helicopter up near where all of his belongings were found? Unless those tracks weren't Robert's.
why you look?
I thought it said 3 people found it. He wasn't found.
I guess
belongings.
What you just said. Like,
I'm thinking it's about to be
people
one of those,
still weren't found.
But that.
What do you think possibly could have happened to him?
Honestly, I was sitting here thinking, I was like, what could have happened? Because if y'all agreed to not go that far, with him being so skilled and knowing the knowledge and knowing that the snow, like, why would you go that far? Or was he ever that far? Like.
But also, let's take in one thing as well: the age.
How old was he?
78.
Oh, I wrote down a different age. Okay.
What you write down?
I didn't hear him. I just heard 8, and I was like, well, I know he got to be older, probably. So I just wrote down 68, but I don't know.
The dentures too, though. I heard 78. I could be wrong.
No, you could be right. I didn't hear him. I just heard 8.
Yeah. So if we take in the age, we do know as people get older, you never know what conditions people might be in, and sometimes older people do like to hide their health.
Yeah.
Especially from their kids, their grandkids. They don't want people to worry about them. Whatever they got going, they're like, hey, I'm fine. You be like, no, you're not fine.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to baby me. You're not going to treat me like a child. I'm a grown ass. You know what I'm saying? Because I've been there.
But I just wonder where he, like...
So what I'm saying is, could he possibly have been battling with dementia?
I know what you're saying.
Or anything. Yeah. And the family just didn't know. Mm-hmm. Because he could have been, or could something have happened to him because he possibly fell, hit his head at some point, kind of woke up a little woozy, slightly out of it. Or could somebody have taken him, kidnapped him, torture him, bring his stuff back, you know? You never know. We don't have no clues. Also, y'all fail. You don't say, hey, if we've got any footsteps footsteps, any type of tracking, let's try to investigate that. Because we have nothing. We stumble over something and automatically we deny it. We turn that possibility down. No, you go with it. You like, hey, that's the only clues we have found so far is these tracks. Oh, it's impossible. We said, well, you never know what people might have, like, what is actually going on at this moment.
Yeah.
Let's not rule out anything.
I agree. But yeah, with something like that, you honestly can you can speculate anything because anything is possible as to what happened, what was going on, like with him. Was he dealing with any health issues or whatever the case may be? Did something happen? Did he slip? Did he fall? Did someone do, like, it could be a plethora of things.
Facts. I just need, like, I guess from the family, or
it's super sad that they wasn't able to recover a body or any type of remains or whatever the case may be to lay him to rest properly. Or, I do hate that. Go ahead.
I don't want to go into another option, but what if he didn't go missing? What if something else happened? And then we were trying to press the issue of a death certificate since we came, so we can collect the insurance policy. You never know. You never know. I just don't want to go into that, but that is a possibility. It's a possibility because things like this has happened several times before in the past.
On February 19th, 1999, Dr. Katherine Wong, who was a pediatrician in San Jose, California, she was 47 years old. She and her husband, John, along with 2 relatives and 2 of their 3 kids, drove 4 hours northeast from their home in Milpitas, California, to Bear Valley Ski Resort. The family loved to go skiing any chance they could, so Dr. Wong was actually a fairly skilled skier. This would be their first time at Bear Valley Ski Resort, which is a resort located about 30 miles south of Lake Tahoe. The Wongs arrive, they start skiing, it's this beautiful day. At about 11:30 in the morning, everybody stops and goes into the lodge for lunch. After lunch, their kids and the other relatives decide to stay in the lodge for a little bit longer. So Dr. Wong and her husband John decide to go skiing on their own. And at some point, Dr. Wong and John decide to go down separate trails. John goes down his trail, and Dr. Wong would go down her trail, which was not a difficult trail. It's one she'd been on earlier in the day, and she doesn't show up at the bottom. John's down at the bottom. He's waiting for her. After a little bit of time, he starts to think, okay, maybe she got hurt, maybe she fell down, I'm not sure. He starts making his way over and looking up the trail. He can't see anything. There's no indication that someone's been hurt. And he starts looking for another 20, 30 minutes. Can't find her. Ski Patrol goes up, and they're looking for tracks coming off of the trail, a sign that maybe someone fell off and went into the woods. But there's no tracks anywhere of somebody leaving the trail. So the Ski Patrol gets in touch with the sheriff's office, who come out and launch an absolutely massive search. But by the end of the day, there was no sign of Dr. Wong, and even more strangely, they had searched all 75 trails on Bear Valley Ski Resort, and there was not one indication that someone had skied off of any of the trails or even walked off any of the trails. The search continued for another 2 days, no sign of Dr. Wong. They began reviewing all of the security footage, and any instance where she was on camera, there seemed to be nothing wrong. At the end of that second day, the weather got much worse, temperatures dropped, and this huge snowstorm rolled in, and the folks in charge of the search decided it was too dangerous to continue. Plus, at this point, they believed that it was impossible for Dr. Wong to even still be alive. At this point, they told the family that they are considering Dr. Wong deceased, and they terminated the search. It was around this time that newspapers and people in the area began to speculate that this was not an accident, that either Dr. Wong willingly decided to vanish or foul play was involved. There was no proof of either one, but it just seemed so bizarre that there was this massive search and there was just no sign of her anywhere, no tracks, no anything. It just felt like something's amiss here, we just don't know what it is. Her husband John ended up taking a lie detector test, which he passed, and investigators began digging into their marriage a bit to see if there was some underlying problems, and it looked for all the world like it was 20 years of a very stable, healthy, happy relationship. There was no sign that Dr. Wong would be looking to escape her life and run off with someone else. 4 months after she went missing, her remains and ski equipment were found about a half-mile south of the ski resort in this deep ravine, heavily forested, well off any marked trail. Bone fragments and remains were scattered over a quarter-mile trail along this ravine. This area had not been previously searched because when they initially launched the search for her, this area was so steep and so difficult to get to, plus there was 8-foot snowdrifts from the ski resort all the way to that area, that they decided it would have been impossible for her to get there. So how did she end up
I hate that.
I'll say
to that area, that they decided it would have been impossible for her to get there? So how did she end up in this impossible area, and why weren't there any tracks leaving the mountain? Some say the scarcity and dispersal of her bones over that quarter-mile track indicates that after she had been deceased, animals had kind of ravaged her remains. Others say that an animal is responsible for this attack, and that's why her remains are scattered over a quarter-mile track in this impossible area. But what kind of an animal is able to sneak up and grab a person off of a very populated ski resort and drag them this half-mile away without leaving any tracks or raising any suspicion?
Yeah. So this is the second story where we failed to do proper searching. That's the only thing I took from that.
Pattern I'm getting, you know. Because my thing is, I understand things are impossible to a lot of people, you know, when you're looking at it.
But anything's possible.
But anything is possible as well. So don't rule it out just because it's like, it's impossible to.
No, there's no way.
You know what I'm saying?
The fuck is wrong?
Like, still check. Still.
And because I was like, is it possible somebody snatched her? Somebody, possibly, but
you still would have seen like markings, like
still would have
saw something.
An animal attack, you would have heard something screaming.
You know,
and the body being dragged. So
like
you
I'm thinking, I'm going to. Hopefully somewhere, if it's that populated, if the trail was that popular, well, it couldn't have been that many. It couldn't have been that many people on it at that time for no one to see anything.
And blood though, because if an animal attacks you, they bite you.
Well, if an animal come and just grab me and drag me off, initially it probably won't be blood right there. No, they take me somewhere. And
but you also would have seen brush would have been disturbed, like brush, like of things. Because if I'm going out of wheel. If I grab onto some, or if I'm dragged through a bush or anything, you will see brushes.
And then I'm also thinking if she had her ski equipment on, like the stuff.
The equipment?
I'm not thinking about the equipment, but I'm thinking about like the stuff you have like on your legs and feet, whatever the stuff is, the ski equipment. Like still, that would have, if an animal come and drag me off, that would still have some type of markings on it. Like I would think so, but I don't know. This is, I guess that's why it's called impossible places and scenarios, because it's like nothing was left behind, so it makes you think.
Is it a possibility she tried to run off, or what type of doctor was she as well? I would like to know that information.
What would that help you with?
But just my
you just want to know
for my understanding reason, but nobody else.
Okay. Anyway.
I don't know, like some in this situation and her situation just seem weird, very weird.
Yeah, most
strange. Is it a possibility the husband could have had something to do with it? You never know. But I'm like, y'all would have seen him come down. Like, how popular is this ski resort? Like, I'm sure there's other people that would have been skiing, going down the slopes with them. Mm-hmm. You know? So, nobody saw anything. She had to hit a cut or something, and nobody's right there at the moment, and easy walk off. But why?
Yeah, I have no clue.
I have so many questions, man. Because I'll say this. Is it possible for the husband to pass a lie detector test? Yes. Some people know how to pass a lie detector test. Mm-hmm. So it's a possibility he could have done something. Yes. It's a possibility that they could have been hiding whatever. Like, nobody always know everything that's going on in anyone's relationship, marriage, or what. So you don't, like, nothing can be ruled out.
No.
Same way, nothing should have been ruled out even with her search. Should have went into 100% every area. Should have looked in the trees, made sure there's no, she could have fell, twisted her ankle, crawl. You never, I doubt she would have crawled that far away if she got hurt. Would have stayed on the trail.
Yeah.
So her being, you never know, man.
It wouldn't make sense to me, but yeah, you never know.
Do you think it was foul play though?
Possibly. Anything is possible. So yeah, you can't rule foul play out. You can't rule this out. But I'm wondering, did y'all find what all of the remains that y'all find? Did anything have because you could if you find a skull, you can tell someone bashed someone's skull. You can see that stuff. The skull or anything. So bash probably was very harsh, but yeah, yeah.
Could be.
But no,
or
but
bullet.
See, you can't, but I'm pretty sure people would have heard that. So if I'm gonna,
not if I got a silencer.
Okay, you getting too deep because most people ain't even.
Anything is possible.
Anything is possible, but
anything. When was this? 99. Anything is possible in 99.
Yeah, anything is possible today.
I'm just saying 90. That's what I'm saying. 99.
But anyway, but anyway, yeah. So. I'm not gonna rule it out, but I do wonder.
I'm looking at foul play though.
But I do wonder what all remains were found, and were you able to kind of indicate some sort of cause of death, other than it being super cold or an animal or I'm wondering with the foul play, were you able to determine it? And apparently no, because I feel like that would have been brought up.
Because y'all was searching for, I'm sure. Even if y'all searching for her, she would have heard y'all searching for her because y'all would have been screaming her name, so she would have responded back. So was she even right? Was she still even in the area, or did somebody come back and dump her body?
I was just about to, did she make it? Did anyone actually see her go to the trail? I know y'all seen the cameras and y'all seen her throughout the day, but I'm saying, did the cameras ever show her actually making it to the trail, going? Where are all the cameras located? Or is it just located in the place where y'all had, lunch? Or is it located, where all the cameras are located? I would like to just know that. I do have a lot of questions.
Because somebody could have brought her body back and just,
But that's very risky, too, when...
Never know, indeed.
But anyway.
It's possible.
Anything is possible.
In 1991, Corey Fay was a 17-year-old high school student in Beaverton, Oregon. On November 23rd, 1991, Corey and two of his friends decided to go elk hunting. Corey was not an avid hunter, but he went hunting enough that he was competent, and he had taken survival training and was always very well equipped anytime he went out on a hunt. So the three of them load up in a truck, they make their way out to this hunting site, and when they get there, they decide to split up and meet back up at the truck at 6:30 that night. That night at 6:30, the other two hunters came back to the truck, but not Corey. He was nowhere to be found. The other two hunters briefly went out looking for Corey, and they couldn't find him, so they called the sheriff's department, who comes out and they launch this absolutely epic search. They had helicopters, they had horse teams, they had 250 ground searchers. They had 7 of the world's best scent sniffing dogs in the whole world are a part of this search. In over 10 days, that group covered 12 square miles where Corey would have been. Towards the end of this 10-day period, when this all-star search team has come up with nothing, people began to wonder if the other two hunters had accidentally shot and killed Corey and maybe buried him. But those search dogs never found a gravesite. The official search was called off on December 1st, but many volunteers stayed out for weeks and weeks, combing the area, going well beyond the bounds of that initial 12-mile area they searched, and nothing was ever found. The sheriff's department that was in charge of this search was so perplexed by the fact that this amazing team of searchers couldn't find anything that they ended up contacting the FBI, which indicates they were suspecting foul play, because that's the only reason the FBI would get involved. But almost nothing happened in Corey's case for nearly a year. In September of 1992, two hunters were hunting about 10 miles away from where Corey had gone missing, and they discover a rifle, a backpack, and a jacket. They don't know whose it is, so they turn it over to the sheriff's department. The sheriff's department comes out, and they're able to confirm that they all belonged to Corey Fay. A new search was ordered right around that area where his belongings were found, and all these searchers came out and did a grid search, and all they could find were a couple of bone fragments and his tooth. No large bones, no rib cage, no skull, nothing. And interestingly, They also never found his pants or his boots. But now that they had some of his remains, the sheriff's department was looking at where they were found and looking at the time.
And they found his tooth and what else again?
Just a couple bone fragments and a tooth. No clothes, no shoes, no nothing.
His remains, the sheriff's department was looking at where they were found and looking at the time of the year when he had gone missing. And they realized that to go from where he went missing to 10 miles away, 3,000 feet up in elevation to where some of his remains were found, he would have been in waist-deep snow for over 5 miles. People were skeptical about him making this trek because it didn't make sense. But his family in particular really didn't believe it. Corey's grandparents said in an interview that Corey had taken these survival courses that he would talk about all the time. And one of the main things they teach you is in a survival situation, when you're on a mountain, in particular when it's cold, you never go up. If you go up in elevation, temperatures will drop, the risk of hypothermia increases. So for him to have wound up 10 miles away and 3,000 feet up in elevation is basically doing the opposite of what he was trained to do. And his grandparents said that Corey was incredibly level-headed. There's no reason that in a real survival situation that he would have just thrown that out the window. He would have relied on his training. So the million-dollar question is, why are his belongings and bone fragments 10 miles away and 3,000 feet up in elevation? Did he defy his training and go there on his own, or did an animal attack him and drag him there? But if it's the latter, what kind of animal drags a 17-year-old, his rifle and his backpack 10 miles up 3,000 feet of elevation in over 6 feet of snow? And where is the rest of him? All we ever found were a couple of bone fragments and a tooth. So like all of these missing 411 cases, we're left with a lot of unanswered questions, because that's the whole deal with missing 411. These are baffling. But that doesn't stop us from speculating about what could be happening. And not only will I respond to the early commenters, I'll also pin the best theory at the top of the comments section. If you want to learn more about missing 411, please check out David Pilatus' book series called Missing 411.
That's all for the last case?
That's all you got.
That's...
Just like with the others.
I was hoping for a little bit more on that.
It's nothing more. And again, it leaves the door open for speculation.
No body remains. No.
None but a couple bone fragments and a tooth. Where he's found that, how, like, why would you go there? How did you get there? Rifle found, backpack. Like, it doesn't make sense, like all the other ones. But yeah. You got anything on this one? No? Yeah. I definitely don't have anything. I don't.
Alright, man. Y'all spam us up in the comments. I don't know. Y'all let us know y'all thoughts and opinions about it in the comment section down below for us. But until next time, y'all know how it go, man. I do go by the name DJ New Kid. This is
Sierra Nicole.
We are.
Kid and C.
We out.
Peace.
Time to kick it, got a stack of flip for my foes. Dollar, 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 dollar. Please